my sisters or my grandparents.
You have a whole different role in their life.
I love it.
You never let us do all that stuff and get leave. I said, of course not. You love these. I just hear love these.
Yeah, check the button down there, it's on.
Ready to roll? Mr. Flynn?
Yes, sir.
Swear. It is 7 p.m. at this time. We will call to order of the regularly scheduled meeting of the Orion Township Zoning Board of Appeals for April 14th at 7 p.m. Please call the roll.
Dan Jerem.
Here.
Don Walker.
Here.
Mike Flood.
Here.
Tony Cook.
Here.
Diane Danaskis here. Quorum is present.
Thank you. Next up, we have our meeting minutes from our 24th of February 2025 ZBA meetings. Now, before we get into them, as the board members know, our meeting minutes for that date were heavily corrected because supposedly or apparently one of the cases that we had that night should have been a supermajority of a vote, meaning a strong majority one way or the other. We had a simple majority, so it changes what the outcome of the vote. It doesn't obviously affect anybody that's here in this room tonight, but our meeting minutes are heavily corrected because of that. Having said that, board members have any feeling, any motions?
Move to accept the minutes as amended.
Thank you. We have motion to accept, motion to support. Do we have anything additional by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Member Cook has decided to vote no on this matter. We still have a majority. The minutes are still entered in as passed. Next up, agenda review and approval for tonight's work. And we have 1, 2, 3 cases. Does any of the board members have anything to say or add before we get started?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Off we go. First case, AB 2025-03, Lawrence and Deborah Sack at 980 Indianwood Road, Sidwell 09-03-251-001. Petitioners are seeking 3 variances from zoning ordinance 78, zoned R1, Article 6, Section 6.04, 1, a 7-foot side yard setback variance from the required 10 feet to build a shed 3 feet from the property line to the east. Number 2 is under Article 27, Section 27.02A4, a variance to allow a shed to extend past the leading edge of the principal structure in the front yard. Next is under Article 27, Section 27.02A8, on lot size over 1 acre to 2.5 acres, a 128-foot square foot variance above the allowed total maximum floor area of detached accessory buildings of 1,000 square feet to replace a 400 square foot shed in addition to an existing 728 square foot detached garage for a total of 1,128 feet of all detached accessory buildings. Now, before we move out, I was a little confused when I first went through this, and the petitioner corrected me and helped me understand it. The way I read this, it was to replace an existing 728 square foot detached building. It is in addition to it. The 728 isn't going anywhere, just the 400. Sir, introduce yourself and let us know what you'd like to do.
Good evening, I'm Larry Sack, this is my wife Deborah. We've lived at 980 Indian Wood since 2016. If you weren't able to come out to the property, I know Mr. Durham was, this is a photograph of the building, 20 by 20 building in question. Our home is up here, and this is as you're coming down the driveway heading to the north. The building is in very poor structural shape. The sills and wood, the footings are rotted, the concrete's all busted up. It's just, we don't know the age of the building. You know, when our neighbors built their home in '88, it was already there. It was there when we purchased the home. It looks nice in this picture, but it's, I will say it's kind of, it's the kind of big situation that really was not, Mr. Durham was messing with. So our desire, here tonight, we're looking for variance.
Excuse me, sir, is your microphone on?
It's green, yes,
Okay, could you get a little closer? We're having trouble picking you up.
certainly,
Thank you.
okay.
You're too tall for the microphone.
Our desire is to rebuild or duplicate this existing building. Same footprint, same location, same height, same roof pitch, just, we like it. It's just, it's been fallen down, so we want to duplicate it. I came and talked to Lynn in the records department. She said there was never a variance on file for when that building was built, whenever it was. So we knew it was close to the east lot line, it's about 3.5 feet. So I had told her, well, I think we need variance to build on that same. She also added the items about it being in front of our home. The home's here, and it's, the lake's on the other side, so it's this side of our home. And then over here is a detached garage. It looks like it's attached to the home, but it's not. So that would put us a little bit over the 1,000 square feet. So that's the reason for the three variances. We did speak with our neighbor who lives in this gray house. Jean Rachel is her name. She's at 950 Indian Wood. She had no issue with this, and I know she was going to submit a letter to the board saying she was okay with it. We also talked to our neighbor on the west side, Bob Brent is his name, and he's at 80 Chippewa Trail. He said he had no issue, and I think he dropped the letter off within the last couple of days to the department. I also, finally, one thing I did, I took this proposal to our HOA board meeting, which was in March, just to alert them to what we were looking to do. And the directors, board of directors for our HOA said they had no issue with it either. They gave me a letter that I could give you, but I didn't know if that needed to happen. So that's what we're looking to do, just get that variance and then duplicate this building.
Thank you, and for the record, I do have the letter from Robert and Kathy Brent, and it says exactly what you said, that they are in favor of it, they have no issue at all, and they live at 80 Chippewa Trail. Board members. Oh, and here's the other one from Jean Rachel. My name is Jean Rachel. The shed they are proposing to demo and rebuild on the east edge of their property is adjacent to my driveway. She has a very nice home also, and it's been there since before my home was built in '88. I have no objection. So, looks like neighbors on both sides of you, that's one thing that weighs heavily with at least me. If the neighbors aren't unhappy, that kind of makes me feel a little better about what's going on.
Just FYI, I did mention to Mr. Durham when he was out yesterday, one thing that would preclude us from just moving over 7 feet is we have underground utilities that run adjacent to the garage. So they would have utilities set up as well, so I'd like to just.
Board members. Mr. Flood.
Mr. Chairman, I was going to note that, I was going through your, looking for what your practical difficulty is to meet the setback, and that's exactly what you have here. You've got underground water, and you got a natural gas line, which you would have to put the building on top of, and I know a lot of utilities frown on that. And reading also through this, and you made your statement too, that when you purchased the home about 7, 8 years ago, that this was an existing shed, and your neighbor who built even 40 years ago almost, that shed was there. So you, by you replacing the shed, this is why you're here tonight, you gotta be compliant with our updated ordinance. Yeah. I understand completely, thank you.
Mr. Cook?
Chair. The part for me is in number 3, where I'm trying to understand the math here. On the existing building, what are the dimensions on that and the total square footage?
The one in the photograph here,
Yes, sir.
it's 20 foot by 20 foot, 100 square feet.
Okay. But you're saying that the building that you're requesting is 400 square feet? Okay, because the way this is written, it just is very awkward.
Can I show you a picture?
Oh, I have that. Yep, I do. That's why I was asking the question, because I'm like, this math and what I'm reading isn't lining up. And I think it's just the way it's written or the way my brain is interpreting the way that our staff wrote it, not anything you did. Yeah, you read the two. Okay, yeah, so that clarifies. It's 400 for 400, okay. Yep, okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Anything further from the board? Walker? Stenakis?
No. I'm prepared to make a motion. If anybody has.
Go ahead with it, and we'll get, if there's any other ideas, we can get it before we second.
In the matter of ZBA case AB 2025-03, Lawrence and Deborah Sack, 980 Indianwood Road, Sidwell 0903-251-001. I move that the petitioner's request for 3 variances from Zone Ordinance 78, Zoned R1, Article 6, Section 6.04. 1, a 7-foot side yard setback variance from the required 10 feet to replace a shed 3 feet from the property line to the east. Article 27, Section 27.02A4, a variance to allow a shed to extend past the leading edge of the principal structure in the front yard. Article 27, Section 27.0288, lot size over 1 acre to 2.5 acres. 3, a 128 square foot variance above the allowed total minimum floor area of detached accessory buildings of 1,000 square feet to replace a 400 square foot shed in addition to an existing 728 square foot detached garage for a total of 1,128 square feet of all detached accessory buildings be granted. With the application date stamp received January 21st, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and that they set forth facts which show that in this case, the petitioner does show practical difficulty. This is an existing shed. They need the shed for their equipment. They are not building a new shed, they are replacing the shed because it is badly in need of repair, too much repair, such that it needs to be replaced, not just repaired. The following are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the property which involve that do not generally apply to other properties in the district or zone. The reason the building is out towards the road on this house, or what we would call the front of the house, is because it backs up to a lake. Therefore, the placement is towards the front of the property. It is also close to the property line because they would not be able to move it away from the property line because there are underground utilities which would prohibit putting a structure there. The variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a subsequent property right possessed by others or same in the same zone or vicinity, or a smaller variance would be sufficient. Again, this is an existing building. They need the equipment. This is a large tract of land, and space is needed to protect that equipment. The granting of the variance will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or materially injurious to the property or to improvements in such zone or district in which the property is located. The variance was not self-created. Therefore, I need to be approved.
Damascus, I'll support your motion if you just take one amendment. When you're reading number 3, a 128 square foot variance above the allowed total, you said minimum, but it's total maximum. If you'll accept that, then I'll support your motion.
We have a motion on the floor by Mrs. Damascus, support by Mr. Cook. Do we have anything additional by the board? Mr. Flood?
Did we ask the public for input on this?
We did not, thank you.
Remember that.
Do we have anybody in the audience that came to speak specifically to this matter tonight? Thank you, thank you. We have a motion on the floor with support. Nothing further from the board, please call the roll.
Tony Cook.
Yes.
Brian Damascus, yes. Don Walker.
Yes.
Tony Kirby. Mike Flood.
Yes.
Thank you. Dan Durham.
Yes. Motion passes, you're on your way.
Thank you.
Good luck, folks.
Thank you very much.
Next case, AB 2025-06, Michelle Hopkins at 695 King Circle. Sidwell 09-10-283-021. And I dropped my train of thought. There we are. Petitioner is seeking one variance from zoning ordinance 78, zoned R3, Article 27, Section 27.05H2, a 9-yard setback variance from the required 10 feet for a 6-foot fence to be 1 foot from the property line to the south/east. Hello, introduce yourself, please, and let us know what and why you'd like to do what you'd like to do. Stand by just a second. Mr. Cook's going to come out and,
Yeah, I know we've been having some difficulty with that microphone.
do the best you can. Okay. Because of the way your house is situated between two streets, when you speak of front and road, please make sure that we understand which front and which road you're talking about. No, that's okay. What color dog?
There's two
Because I was in your backyard today, and there was one that started the second I pulled off the road and quit when I got out. Oh,
She thinks we are getting in her house. We have nothing to do with her. We don't talk to her. She's obscenities at us nonstop. She's motioning to my wife, like this, or she's going to shoot her when she went out to get a package. There's just a lot of issues. And it is documented with the sheriff's department. In fact, they were just out 2 weeks ago, and I think Deputy Scholl, I don't remember his last name, actually asked us, even dog barking, he wants to go put this on.
okay, unfortunately, what you're discussing, and I applaud you for not wanting to just rip into things, but it is something that we have to consider because these 6-foot fences, they pop up all over town and they are an issue every time they do. Now, did I hear you say 10 years for your property you lived? Your neighbor, how long? Okay, does she live there alone? PD comes out, the police. What do they say other than looking worried and not taking much action? What do they do? No, to make the situation better.
There's really nothing they can do. They tell us it's not illegal to have mental health issues. They almost arrested her one time when she was throwing rocks at our cars and at us. So she kind of talked herself down on it, plus they contacted her family. Her family invites her again to her. They don't want anything to do with her, so that's why this one deputy, the last time he was out, he said that he would like to give her position if he wants us to continue to call on her everything, so he can get the position to the books to get this around.
I mean, they ought to be able to open adult protective services case if they think that. Okay. Board members.
No, it will, I mean, your opening answers some of my questions and about some of your responses on the residential variance request. So I don't want to take the conversation somewhere else, but let's see if any of my peers have any questions, and then I'll follow up. Okay? Yep. So, Mr.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Walker.
you folks have lived there 10 years? Yes. And has it gotten worse over 10 years, or has it been like this for 10 years?
That's the odd part. In all honesty, she's been great it's been the last 3 years for mental health because the time was bad. Her family's been a long time. We used to get along. In fact, when our well went, she let us, hook up the hose and use her water. She was great. All of a sudden, we don't know what happened or why. One day her dogs were out, and I was calling for her, not realizing that she was having an issue. And she basically
old is she? Well, I do have to say one thing. I don't have any idea or any feel for whether you're going to be successful tonight or not yet. In the event that you are and a fence goes up, a fence is not going to be the ultimate answer for this person. If police are asking you to keep up your vigilance, I would certainly hope that you do that, because the fence is not going to be the answer that she needs. Well, this says a lot about you.
Chair, I have another question. Do the dogs bark when are they on the ground when they're barking at you, or are they up on some sort of structure, or?
So they're up on her, patio, or there's a patio right out of her house. So they just leave that door open, and they come and go, and they stay on that patio. Which is a pretty large area, I mean, probably almost bigger.
I guess what I'm leaning to, would a 4-foot fence not stop them from seeing you, those dogs?
We have 4 foot on the other side, and
Okay, because you could have a 4-foot without even being here, you know that.
correct.
Okay,
And part of the problem too is where her windows are, looking in our house, her standing there, looking us off. This will help alleviate some of that stuff as well. It's very stressful, when we live right now, and if you guys don't approve this, I'll be 100% honest with you, and I told the guys who this year, we will probably sell the house. Do we want to? Absolutely not. We love it there, we want to stay there, we love to see where we can help them. But we've been going through this for 3 years, we cannot be outside, our grandson's 2 years old, and she scares the crap out of her, when she's having in the car, I pull him up on her really fast in front of our mailbox. Should I call the police when I found out about that? Yes, but innocently prior to the last call. I try and give her the benefit of the doubt, I was a law enforcement for 10 years, I don't like bothering with that, because the father I was in the past. I'm gonna talk to we all, even our neighbors are all on board. We're trying to get her some help, and her family is, they don't want to do it.
all right, thank you.
Mr. Naskis.
Do you know if the police have contacted welfare, social services, adult social services, because the paranoia, the late age onset, could they bring in, did they talk at all about bringing in another agency?
So she was at it last night, for the men outside. I was waiting
Just clarifying, you called Adult Protective Services. It sounds like a mental health issue and one that certainly, if they would send someone out, could probably, they could then perhaps move the ball forward on helping. I don't know, but, yeah. I don't think it could hurt, but that's, you know, and I appreciate that you did it. you know.
I would be curious how long of a paper trail they believe they need. I mean, they tell you to keep calling, so you keep calling and keep calling. When do they hit a threshold? When is it enough? I'm not criticizing them because I don't know what they're faced with. But you have to have some idea when, okay, now they jump into it and do what they need or can do. Okay, I believe I understand the why now, and maybe we need to swing back to the what. You were here for a fence variance? Mr. Floyd, do you have any?
No.
No?
Listening to my counterparts here.
Yeah. Young lady in the audience there, you have time to come and do your 3 minutes in public comment if you'd like to. If you don't want to, don't, but I don't want you to be there with something to say. Come on up and introduce yourself.
I hate to interrupt, but we're getting the word that the microphones can't pick this up, so you.
It
I don't
appears
want
to
you
be-
to yell at us, but you almost have to yell at us.
It appears to be dead.
Okay, I'm sorry. So last night's episode, she's constantly fooling around with her gas meter. She thinks it's leaks of some sort. She's digging around with it now. It's kind of getting a little bit more concerning. I had told her if she should, because she's tampering with the meter right now, and it gives me concern because of all the houses blowing up lately. So I'm kind of like a little nervous on that. So the episode that she, ran up onto my car, I did kind of freak out a little. I did not tell my wife about the episode because I didn't want any confrontation at that point in time, but I'm terrified of her.
I'm the
it's
only
like-
one that'll kind of, not really stand up there, but, I don't just ignore, because I don't want her to think she can get away with walking all over, so you can't get out of the house. So am I afraid to turn my back to her? Absolutely, there's no doubt about that. But, so like you said, that is the reason for the fence, the reason for the variance is the property, the way it's laid out, how well.
And I just want to hurt my safety, it's like every time, like I mostly work 12 hours a day, and when I come home, it's like, I don't know what her problem is with me, with the gun garden. Last year, I didn't do anything. I stayed out of my yard because I just didn't want to do it. So I'm hoping this year with the fence, I have that privacy, I can go out and put my flowers in, make the yard look beautiful like it's supposed to, and I don't have to, I don't wanna bother her, and I just wanna feel safe.
Thank you. Board members, we've listened to this. I believe we probably would agree that she has quite strong extenuating circumstances for wanting what she wants. I don't pretend to know whether a strong practical difficulty is enough for a variance of this type. That would be up to this board to decide. What is the next step here? I mean, if we are out of questions, we need to consider a motion one way or the other if we have enough information to move forward. I can't make motions anyway while the other four are considering this. I live at your house. I'm in your shoes temporarily. I'm assuming, and I don't mean this in any negative context at all, I'm assuming that everything you're telling me is the straight truth and can be backed up. So making that assumption, if the person is outside digging around a gas meter and I'm afraid she's going to blow the house up, I'm calling. If she kicks the door open for me to make a call and not look like a fool, I'm calling. That's what I'm doing. If I have to call, if they say this is the 16th day in a row, why do you keep doing this? That's why I keep doing this. You don't have the ability or the authority to fix this yourself. I don't know if they do. Again, I don't know their circumstances. But if anybody does, it's them or somebody they can contact within the county government system, the mental health authority, the people of that nature. So the only thing you can do is call and keep them coming, especially since you've got somebody that sounds like within the boundaries of the law, he may be sympathetic and willing and ready to help you.
I mean, his exact words are, he was hoping that we didn't need to fence for him to do. He's like, I'm hoping to get this taken care of so you don't end up either. But, who knows how long.
Well, you need to, it sounds like you need to hope he's got brothers. You know? That's all I.
And I am listening to everything you're saying. I am, thinking that's okay. I need to stop worrying about who I'm bothering, and I need to worry about our safety more. And, definitely with all the holes she's digging, I do need to make her call, last night to fire the gas meter again, he's screaming, I do need to make her call.
Because I spent many, many years fooling around with gas meters myself in the fire service. Sometimes it doesn't take much. So, yeah, I don't think that would be something that I could be real comfortable seeing happen.
I don't know where the gas line is running, where she's digging, the holes are only about like this, but this is just starting. Is this gonna lead to this? And, I don't.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Walker.
first of all, I'm very sympathetic to your plight, truly. My concern is that I'm not sure this fence is the answer to your problem. My thought is, this isn't the place to fix this. Because even if this woman is blocked with a 6-foot fence, if she is persistent in doing all of these things, she's going to figure some other way to harass you. I'm convinced of it. If I thought for a second,
She can. If she's not seeing us out there, like, we can't, like she said, we can't even go outside. She watches everything we do. This, we have privacy, the big trees are up over there before we bought the house. And then the fence would start at those trees, and it would just stop her whole ability to see what we're doing in our yard. We pull up in our driveway, she's staring at us. We walk up our driveway, she's staring at us. And it's not a nice stare. It's a blank, scary stare. And I understand what you're saying. No, this isn't gonna fix her, but do have his mother's number. I can contact him anytime he told me, but he's not gonna do anything. He's pretty much already told me they're not gonna do anything. They live down in West End, they don't want anything to do with it. It's sad, it truly is sad. If my family did that to me, I would be devastated. So we're really willing to hope to get her some help, but it's only fair to us to feel comfortable in our own yard and our own home. And if we feel that this is gonna help us get that little bit of privacy and comfort we need right now, you know, it's better than trying to sell our house.
Thank you.
It's on our table now, board members, we've got to make a decision here. And I got nothing more than I've said. Anybody with an idea, be a great time. Ms. Goodlow, anything occur to you, listen to this? Take help wherever we can get it.
I do have one more question.
Just ask us.
Do you have other neighbors that are also reporting these things to the police?
Yes, like I said, the other side was the one that called last time.
Are there any others, though, just the two of you, or are there any others?
A lady that was at a bus stop right across on Fairledge from her driveway. She called the police on her because she was chasing cars with her car and carrying out of the driveway when she was leaving, ready to come home. So there's been different people that have called the police on her. Unfortunately, the two of us are the closest to her and we hear everything that she's doing. People across the street, you know, I don't know if they can really hear her in their house all the time. But it's not just us. What I understand, she was at Rick's Barbie store, they called the police on her. She was acting up at the Barbie store, so it's,
Something, Mr. Goodlow?
Yeah, I just want to remember that, you know, when we're talking about a variances, we're talking about property.
Right.
Neighbors,
Right.
unfortunately,
I get it.
are not really
Right.
a factor. Obviously, there's a human factor in all of us, but we got to make sure that it's a human factor.
It is correct, thank you.
And I think we're, at least for me, that I'm coming from the fact that there is no way to put a 6-foot fence within the, to have the 6-foot fence 10 feet away from the property line, so there is no option for it. So that's why. Right.
I have one more thing too. If
Please.
it's going to be a foot away from the property, who will maintain that foot, and how will you do it without stepping on your neighbor's property?
It's the same way on the other side, and, we'll spray through there. I'll get everything sprayed down there until the leaves and stuff. It really doesn't get that bad though, surprisingly.
I see a lot of that because we do weed enforcement for the enforcement department, and you will see one side of the fence is not done. And then sometimes the neighbor will actually start cutting it, and then they consider it theirs. Just be aware of those.
I do plan on, that's why I kind of want a little bit of space, just so I can get down in there and there's weeds and stuff, we can manage them and take care of them. You know, the ends will be open, so you can get in a little ways that way too, you know, because it's not end-to-end property.
We aren't the only ones that have to make a decision, you have to make one too. Your easiest one would be to go home and put up a 4-foot fence and hope for the best. That would be the easiest one. That would take us out of the equation completely. Second option you would have would be sensing the temperature of the room, in the room here, to go for a vote on what you brought tonight, to walk out having succeeded or not. So those are choices that you may have to move forward with at some point because we're stuck on the middle case. We're going to have to move forward. If you've got anything else that would help us, specific to the property, now's the time. Because this board has a really narrow scope. People tend to believe that we can fix anything that involves anything because a variance will fix it all. And since Mr. Goodlow said, we speak to property only. Is there anything about the property that won't let happen what you want to do? In your case, you've got a narrow yard, you can't lose 10 feet off your property. So that would be your issue here. And that would be basically the only property issue that this board, if we are looking at it through the lens of our enabling legislation, would be able to make a determination on.
Well, then, where there is 10 feet, are wells there. So you got the whole length of the house, you mow in, then you come out, our wells there. And then past our well, you're only looking at maybe 15 feet of fence.
Well, I've got a question for the board if nobody has anything else for the lady. I don't like to do this because it is just pushing a problem backwards. It's not solving it, and we'll end up having to solve it eventually. Should we ask the petitioner to push this back to a meeting that is currently available with no cases? Because we are jammed hard in the middle. We need some additional advice. I don't know where we'd get it, but we need something. Mr. Cook?
Yeah, just from the standpoint of, there's the emotional side and there's what our rules are. And that's the difficulty with what you've presented to us about the property. And then there's the other side, which is, the third option, which the chairman just mentioned, was to postpone it to a date, particularly, not a date, we normally do it to a date certain, but to a date uncertain. The reason that I say that is because it puts it potentially in a position where you can continue to do and take the new information about calling. And, that will hopefully solve the problem, and then the fence will be off the table because she's getting the help that she needs. But according to the rules that we have before us, this is me, at a very difficult point to be able to support what you presented to us.
So our option is to put it right on our house and then 10 feet out, right?
Or the 4 foot.
4 foot's not gonna do anything, I'm not gonna spend thousands of dollars on a 4 foot fence. I'm sorry, if I thought it would help, I would do it in a second. I got you. It's not gonna block the view of us, she sits up.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. With all due respect, you're guessing. You don't believe that it would help, so it's not something you're willing to consider.
I know it won't help. If I'm standing in my driveway, you can see right into where she's got staring at us, and it's over the chain link fence. So if it was 4 foot fence, or, 4 feet, still gonna have to see where it is.
All right, Mr. Cook just brought up an excellent point when he talked about pushing this case back to a date uncertain. You have not, when you walk out the door and get in your car, you have not succeeded, but you have not failed. You've gone home to ponder your thinking, to possibly figure a way to get some additional information, contact the office, and ask to be reassigned to a future date. So I don't believe that it should. Okay.
You have to re-advertise because we won't know the date. Typically, we have to go with the date certain.
Well, nothing simple, is it?
So honestly, the location of the house and our well is not solid enough. I mean, I can't move my well and I can't move my house. If I could, I would figure out a way to do it.
It comes down to the fact that a 4-foot fence is allowed, a 6-foot is not.
In our backyard is
No. What do you think, folks?
How did the other side get it approved then? Because they have more room than we do.
Okay, I have heard, and I was waiting for this. This comes up 20 times a year. I will tell you, one at a time, please. I will tell you that I do not know who was in charge of the rules, what the rules were, whether they applied for a variance or just decided if God didn't catch them, nobody would. So I can't speak to other things that are going on around. Never have been able to. And I understand, I would be asking the same question if I were where you are. I understand that completely. But we have no control over that, and we are just required to do what is called for in the books from our point forward.
And I know they did apply to
Do you know, Mr. Goodlow, we've got what would have been a date completely open on the 28th. Now, that has no other cases. Would that be within the time window if she agreed to postpone? It would be.
Yeah, as long as you have a date certain.
Now, the fact that there are no other cases, would that cause any problem?
Typically, we don't go with other cases because people pay for that option.
Well, I would have
I
to
know
go,
we have 6 cases the following
Yes.
meeting.
we do.
How far out can we,
Has to be a date certain, I believe.
right, within any particular time range? Oh, any of these, all right.
Normally get a date certain memo. I didn't see one. This Flem?
Chairman, here's one right here.
Oh, okay. Good. I only saw the one about the
I know,
cancel.
I just found it
Good.
stuck in my paperwork.
April 28th, officially this will, May 12th is full. May 27th will be a Tuesday meeting because of Memorial Day holiday, but if it's on here as a date certain, it does fall under the window, correct? Okay. So, go to a 4-foot fence, which you don't want. Take your chances with a vote tonight, and again, I can't speak to how it'll go. Or push your request back to May 27th, which would be a date certain, which would not cost you any more money, and try to come back with some other information. Don't know what.
I don't know either, because I can't change two of the issues that stop me from putting.
Do you suspect you'll have reason to, well, and this is an awful thing to even ask, do you suspect you'll have reason to interact with this neighbor again before then? Well, I bet. I just wonder,
I mean, honestly, like I said, we will be putting our house up for sale, and that's why I'm like really heartbroken right now, because we love the house. And we cannot live like this any further, we can't. I'm not trying to change your mind or anything, but I'm just letting you know, it's been hell for 3 years for us. We put up with a lot, and I can't tell you how many times we just, we're so sorry you guys are going through this, we're so sorry you guys are going through it. We're done going through it. We're trying, we want to stay in our house. You know, this is our last big option on top of trying to get personnel.
everybody up here has basically voiced the same sentiment. They understand what you're saying. We are sympathetic to it. We lack the tools to fix the problem at this level. If you take a valid case away with you to bring back on the 27th, and if you decide to go that way, please contact the office tomorrow, let them know what happened, and undoubtedly they'll be calling us later, but anyway.
And am I allowed to ask what further issues do I have to have to get it approved? Like, I cannot change the 2 issues we already have. You know, so what further do we need?
Mr. Naskis?
I think what we're saying is in the next 3-4 weeks, can you take the opportunity to keep calling the law enforcement, protective services, have your neighbors do it? You know, the law works on the quantity of problems that are involved here. If you can get to the point where you can get adult protective services involved, I suspect we have a pretty good idea of what they're going to find out. And then if they become involved, they'll involve the family. They can then take over providing support for her. And then perhaps that'll change what your needs are. Am I voicing that correctly? Yeah. Well, the idea of having adult protective services become involved is the choice becomes adult protective services. They make the choices. It becomes an issue of competence.
With
Thought.
respect, we've given you some options. If we can't come to a conclusion here pretty quick, I'm going to request that the board draft a motion to rule on this case tonight. We don't have to do that if you would like to come back with more information. So please make a note that we are going to put into the record May 27th. That will be a Tuesday instead of the normal Monday because of Memorial Day holiday. Contact the office as often and as deeply as you need to. Ask them just what you've asked us. Here's what they told us, now what? They got a whole room full of people and access to an attorney if they decide to go that way. It's your best bet right now. Do we need a motion to let this go?
To postpone it to a date certain.
Yes.
Am I making the motion?
Mrs. Danaskis.
All right. In the case of AB 2025-06, Michelle L. Hopkins, 695 King Circle, Sidwell 09-10-283-021. The petitioner is seeking one variance from zoning ordinance number 78, zoned R3, Article 27, Section 27.05H2, a 9-foot setback variance from the required 10-foot for a 6-foot fence to be 1 foot from the property line to the southeast/west. Per the petitioner's request, I would move that we postpone this item, agenda item, to a date certain of May 27th, 2025.
Support.
A motion by Mrs. Danaskis, supported by Mr. Flood. Do we have anything additional by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Don Walker.
Yes.
Tony Cook.
Yes.
Diane Danaskas, yes. Mike Flood.
Yes.
Dan Durham.
Yes, you are postponed. Thank you.
Just, ma'am, one other thing, just if you see her around that meter, along with calling the police, also contact whoever provides your gas service, consumers, because, again, that's not normal behavior, and it is extremely dangerous. Yes.
That is a strong resource. They take a dim view of people messing with meters.
I mean, and I don't know that you really.
You don't have to
You
know.
don't have- That's why we have Miss Dig, so we don't have those problems. So, yeah.
Thank you. Next case, AB 2025-07, SEA Enterprise of Lake Orion Victory Motors at 677 South Lapeer Road, Sidwell 09-11-430-021, 681 South Lapeer Road, parcels 09-11-430-004 and 09-11-430-005, and 2 vacant parcels immediately east of 677 South Lapeer Road, parcel 09-11-430-006, and parcel 09-11-430-007. Petitioner is seeking 2 variances from zoning ordinance 78, zone GB, Article 27, Section 27.04, number 1 is a variance to allow varying dimensions for inventory parking spaces from the 9 by 19 foot parking space requirement in the south parking lot, north parking lot, and northeast parking lot. A 2-foot width variance from the 22-foot maneuvering lane width requirement in the north parking lot and northeast gravel lot to be 20 foot where marked. And that's it. Please introduce yourself and let us know what it is you'd like to do.
My name is Brad Klein, with Auger Klein and Miller Architects. We're here representing the applicant, Victory Motors, newest Fair Van Tamel. Part of ownership of the property, and the dealership.
Before you get started, let me step in front of you for just a second. The other folks probably had similar experiences. I went over, drove around the parking lot, I walked around the parking lot. I didn't see any markers. I didn't see anything that gave me any indication what it is you would like to do. Now, I figure I know what a maneuvering lane is and what a product parking lane is, but I didn't see any hard things that told me. Now, maybe I missed them. Maybe they were there and I didn't see them. But after what you just witnessed here, go slowly and make it really plain to us what you'd like to do.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
I apologize, I wasn't anticipating the screens, but, check to,
Do we have a,
Do we have the screens?
Mr. Goodlow? He'd like to use the overheads. Can we?
Yes, just, plug in over there, what's the, should say podium, and you gotta just hit podium.
Wasn't what I meant to hit.
Usually it's the center when it comes down.
One on the right.
If you hit 3 more, we're going to disappear. I have to yell loud.
All right, how do I get rid of this one? I think I breathed on the on TV one.
Yeah, a reverb. I had one of my 63 Pontiac.
Thank you.
Go off when that screen was up there.
You're lower, just far enough to block the sun out. There you are.
So the variances we're seeking tonight all relate to the inventory parking areas on the site, which will only be or are only accessible by staff. It's not meant for any customer traffic. a suitable or adequate inventory to keep the business healthy. They have adequate parking for customers and employees that all center around the parking lot that does meet the ordinance standards. So again, we're just looking for variance for where the parking inventory.
You speak of a 16-foot depth. Do they have a new width to go with it? Okay.
Typically, but how we're showing the striping here in just kind of banks as opposed to individual slots.
Okay.
Is kind of the preferred, they'll define for sure where the inventory is parked. But it's really about the depth, obviously the size are so wide.
You speak of other customers or customers that's not being allowed in that maneuvering lane up on the northern edge there?
Correct.
How are you going to keep them out of there if you keep that entrance open off the dirt road?
There will be signage saying, do not enter except for authorized vehicles, emergency vehicles. The main entry will be signed here, this is the main ingress, or the main ingress for the customer traffic. This is a one-way in, and then, both the north and south are indicated as exit-only drives.
With your cursor there, show me your customer parking. Okay, so it's not going to be in front of the building, because they had that stacked with golf carts the other day. Thank you. Board members.
So just for clarification, so right now, you can pull in here and go anywhere on your lot, basically. You can pull into any of these driveways, and you can drive to the north, and you can cut across and then go out onto the residential street. So you're saying that there will not be cars going out to that residential street any longer?
We prefer them not to, but we need to leave the driveways open.
Uh-huh.
That's according, before so it is open, but we are gonna mark it for one-way traffic. Hopefully cutting down everyone ripping through the parking lot,
Mhm.
for not just everybody's safety, but also mine. I walk around at car lots. And, so I'm trying to create a one-way only out. So people will may be driving through there. That's why we want to leave a 20-foot driveway, and for the fire truck in case anything was to happen. But it'd be one way, when paint the ground as soon as we saw the site plan and everything gets approved, and put signage up that it is one-way traffic. Exit only at the back of the lot. The two curb cuts in the front are gonna be cut out, and the ones that are on the residential streets closest to the clear road are going to be taken out.
Okay.
For our site plan. And the, just hopefully curbing the driving through the lot, and it's such, especially at such speed.
Thank you.
And again, we intend, when this is all put in place, that there will be no traffic going to the north, customer traffic. Any possible vehicles that come in would be, the fire truck would be, to the north drive.
I would ask for public comment, but we have no public, so I cannot do that.
Mr. Chair, I'll say that these folks have been in front of the planning commission at least a couple of times. We've worked out everything with the exception of these two variances. The fire marshal has approved it.
The building's been a little tricky, a little non-conforming. So, we're trying to do the site plan so that, that we can get the property up. So, I guess there's no site plan record from when it was built back in the 60s.
Yeah, I'm currently reading the minutes from the planning commission on, if these variances are received, the applicant will resubmit revised plans based on the following bunch of conditions in there. So they gotta go back to the planning commission yet. Sometimes they'll do it the other way. They'll try to get a site plan, but you're going through the variance first, then go back.
Although they did mention we pick up those conditions that we probably administrative.
Yeah.
Cook?
I believe it's Mr. Klein, correct? Can you move this to the north, please? So I can see this. I want to see the southern portion of the property. No, don't shrink it, just move it. Now, blow it back up. Come on. Yeah, hold eyes here. Thank you. So you've got I'm just curious about this. You've got, there's two buildings on the site. So you've got the southern, and there's a note in here about wanting to keep things to the north. What is the second building for?
We don't know yet. We remodeled it though.
Remodel.
It had no roof, so we fixed it all up. It's currently almost approved, we're going for our final inspection on it, so we haven't decided yet.
So much for my former thought.
Yeah, probably, golf carts, like you've seen, I want to store them in there. Kind of like a showroom almost. We fixed it up for like a showroom. It's got an office in it, bathroom.
I just remember what it looked like before you, I was hoping that it was still in the same condition, but it's not. So.
No, it's not in the same condition anymore. It's much nicer. I would hope that you would think it was much nicer. It has a roof, but there's not animals living inside of the building now.
We're not talking about the building that used to be used cars back when, are we?
Yeah, the
Yep.
little garage building.
Yeah.
With the two garage doors on it. That was completely caved in.
Really? I didn't think it was vacant that long. Huh.
I don't know if it was vacant, how long it was vacant, but it was not nice.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Flood?
for the record, I want to get on the record here for our, Jeffrey Williams, our fire marshal. The email, March 26, 2025. Please note for case AB 2025-07, which is this case, as long as our fire apparatus can circulate the site at all times, as explained and shown on the site plan, the fire department has no concerns. So this would, when they go back, if this gets approved, when they go back for their site plan approval, that's all going to be addressed again at that level. And my main concern is the fire department.
I believe he's saying don't leave any cars in the maneuvering lanes and things of that nature, things that would be really easy to do in the course of business during the day.
I'm pretty stickler about it though.
Good. If we have nothing additional for these folks, we could consider motion if somebody is inclined. Mr. Cook?
Okay, so the 16-foot versus the 19-foot length on the parking spaces doesn't change the cars. So help me understand the logic of
So,
why.
Any of the 16-foot deep spaces, so that's the minimum. So here where we're showing 32, that's a double row of 15. So that's where they will park smaller cars. As part of the fire marshal's, our discussion through site 19-foot space is, a lot of cars fit well with under that. It's, part of it for maneuverability for public parking, zoning and that parking spaces, but this again will be professionally parked, if you will, for storage.
So part of it, when I look at it, as I see the 16, see the 21 feet, 6 inches, and then you have an 18-foot lot into it. So how does that fit into all of this?
Well, we're maximizing the spaces we can, we're trying to get as large a spaces as we can for inventory, but still allow for enough inventory, number of cars on the lot that a business like this requires to.
18 is below the required 19.
I'm sorry?
18 is below the required
Right, well,
19.
our variant is, our request was to basically be less than, be allowed less than the standard 19
Right.
in the inventory parking.
So just if I'm understanding the diagram correctly, what you're showing us, these, for instance, the 16 by, the cars are going to be parked horizontally, from what I'm looking at. And how do they move them out? Because it doesn't look like there's any room.
Well, this 16 here is a drive, is an aisle, this is an aisle.
Okay, those are the aisles.
Shuffling,
Okay,
required from time to time, but there are aisles.
those are aisles.
So, yeah, the rest is left into the closed rectangular box.
In the 32, they're, let's say, backed up bumper to bumper. So each car can either pull out forward or pull out, like if you're looking at that, straight out. That's how we have it kind of set up right now. If you got a chance to look at it. And it's the way the works with the existing lot and have room for the fire lane and still maximize how much inventory you have displayed at one time. Let's do it in that and how it looks.
If the board doesn't have anything additional, we could consider a motion. Cook.
So what's the practical difficulty?
Practical difficulty just being, we're landlocked and can't expand to generate parking spaces of the standard nature for inventory, and provide, the needed number of cars on site. It's an existing dealership that's operated this for decades, and we're just kind of trying to continue that use.
So is the goal as many cars as you can possibly get on the site?
Many cars you can afford to buy, to sell. I mean, not as many cars as you can buy. We have about 80 on the lot right now, with what we would consider room to spare. The goal would be to have, on average, for sale at any given time, about 100 and maybe 125 cars. So planning it out like this allows for us to have about 125 cars ready for sale.
You mentioned 80 cars. Are you maxed out in your current configuration at 80 cars?
No, there's 80 cars on the lot right now that you saw.
What do you believe you will gain with these modifications if you're successful, as far as number of cars?
You should be able to gain about, I think, 'cause I had more on the lot at one point, so there's about 20 spaces that we'll be able to handle, opening up, allowing for the customer parking that we have striped on the lot currently. We're gonna add additional customer parking, behind the building that is, currently the smaller building on the lot. That allows for us to position the cars kind of more on display, you know, because that's important to have them in a display configuration.
Okay,
So that there's, you know.
thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Mrs. Walker,
I'm ready to make a motion.
please.
In the matter of ZBA case AB 202507, SEA Enterprise of Lake Orion, Victory Motors, 677 South Lapeer Road, parcel 0911-430-021, 681 South Lapeer Road, parcels 0911-430-004 and 0911-430-005, and two vacant parcels immediately west of 677 South Lapeer Road, parcel 0911-430-006 and parcel 0911-430-007. I move that the petitioner's request for two variances from zoning ordinance number 78, Zone GB, Article 27, Section 27041, a variance to allow varying dimensions for inventory parking spaces from the 9-foot by 19 parking space requirement in the south parking lot, north parking lot, and the northeast gravel lot, and a 2-foot wide variance from the 22-foot maneuvering lane with width requirement in the north parking lot and northeast gravel lot to be 20 feet wide where marked, be granted for plain date stamped received March 20th, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and that they're set forth in the facts which show in this case that the petitioner has a practical difficulty. This lot, it was a used car lot that was constructed in the 1950s or thereabouts, before many of these zoning requirements and various regulations were in place. And the shape of the lot is such that it's difficult to work with. Petitioner has indicated, and it's not related to the general conditions in the area of the property, it's specific to this property. The following exceptional or ordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to this property do not apply generally to other properties, because this is a unique property in that it is a used car lot, but they're upgrading it and modernizing, if I can use that word, in what they're doing. They're necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by other property in the same zone. And granting of this variance would not materially be detrimental to the public welfare, material injuries to the property, or improvements in such zone or district in which the property is located. In addition, the variance is not self-created. Also, the fire marshal has indicated that he has no issue with the turning lane. Therefore, I ask that we grant their request.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Walker, supported by Mr. Flood. Anything additional by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Diane Danaskas, yes. Tony Cook?
No.
John Walker?
Yes.
Mike Flood?
Yes.
Dan Durham?
Yes, request passes. Good luck to you. Next up, we have public comment without public. Communication, education, anybody have anything to bring up? Memo from planning and zoning, it looks like we're gonna be off on the meeting of the 28th for lack of cases. Committee reports, I don't think we have anything active unless I'm missing something. Member comments, anybody? Seeing none, motion to adjourn. Sorry?
The meeting on the 28th.
We are canceled.
You do it now administratively,
Okay, got it.
amended the bylaws. I move to adjourn.
Support.
Motion, support, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, hearing none, we're done.